when a routine sightseeing flight crashes into the Colorado Rockies.
All of a sudden, you're about to die.
Three friends fight to stay alive.
I started thinking whether we were actually going to live through the night.
Unless one of them can hike out and find rescue,
I thought to myself, this is impossible.
they face certain death in this freezing mountain wilderness. At a small airport in New Mexico, Tommy Robbins has planned a surprise for his brother-in-law.
I figured it would be very nice to rent an airplane and tour the area from the air. I was really looking forward to the flight.
Larry Dimond and Tommy are on the last day of spending a week's vacation together. And Tommy hopes it will be the highlight of their trip.
Besides being my brother-in-law, Larry was my friend. He wasn't as outdoorsy as I am. He was more of an indoor person, a city person. Larry was very excited about going up and flying around in the small airplane.
Look at the lines on that.
It was like a perfect place to go plane sightseeing. So why not? I'm on vacation, let's do something interesting like that.
Hey, Justin. Hey, here you are, buddy.
Today, Tommy's good friend, Justin Kirkbride, will be piloting the plane.
This is our girl.
Looking good.
Yeah. Tommy asked me if I would take him up, and I said, sure, no problem.
Looking good.
You guys all set? You bet. Let's go flying.
Both Justin and Tommy are qualified pilots, with experience of flying over the Colorado Rockies.
We were going to go up and basically do my standard sightseeing flight, and our expectation was to go up and be back for lunch and then head home.
Out in open country, the friends find flying is the perfect way to watch the local wildlife.
Larry was looking here, looking there, pointing. He was like a kid in a candy store.
It was gorgeous, and all positives and nothing but fun and Yahoo, yay.
An hour into the flight, the friends decide to head higher into the mountains. In front of them is a vast ridge of snow-capped peaks. But as Justin tries to pull up and over them,
I looked at the instruments. You have a feet per minute indicator, up or down. And we were doing almost 800 feet a minute down.
a strong downdraft is dragging them straight into the mountains.
If I didn't do anything, I mean, that's gonna be a horrible crash. You gotta start making decisions. So I tried to turn the plane. But the stall warning would beep. If you stall, then you fall out of the sky. What I needed to do was get us on the ground without killing anybody.
Justin's pilot training kicks in. He knows he has to stay calm.
At that point, it became about slowing the aircraft down to minimize the impact as much as possible.
Your adrenaline goes off like crazy.
All of a sudden, you're about to die.
Time slows down.
We hit the trees.
Big, horrible banging noises.
Miraculously, Justin is completely unscathed. But the three friends are far from out of trouble.
The first thing that I remember seeing was the fuel. It was just like, oh my God, that's fuel. That scared me.
One spark could turn the wreck into a giant fireball.
Larry! We gotta get out now, Larry! Fuel's everywhere, we gotta go!
I told Larry, you have to get out of the aircraft right now. And he told me that his leg hurt. I explained to him he has to get out now if he doesn't want to burn to death.
Finally got it together. I managed to go backward out of the plane.
The plane could blow at any second. But Tommy is unconscious. He's taken a serious blow to the head.
Wake up! Tommy, wake up, man, we gotta get out of here! Tommy! We got fuel everywhere, wake up, wake up!
I yelled at him and he didn't respond.
Tommy! Please!
I was very concerned that I'd killed one of my best friends.
Tommy, come on!
Justin has to haul Tommy's 220-pound dead weight out of the plane.
The first thing I remember is a horrible pain in my side, and I believe that is when Justin broke my ribs.
The three friends have to get away from the fuel-soaked wreck. But Larry can't walk.
As soon as I put any weight on the leg, I just fell over. I immediately fell over and screamed.
Larry, get up! Come on, stand up! Stand up! Head up, boy! Come on! Go!
When I got him to his feet, the pain in my side was excruciating. But I felt it was more important to get away from the gasoline than it was to worry about the pain.
The three men somehow managed to get far enough away and out of danger.
I looked at the plane. It was, wow, we could have all died. I thought, we're pretty lucky to walk out of that one.
Tommy and Larry are both seriously injured. As well as his broken ribs, Tommy has also taken a massive impact to his head. There's no way of telling if he has brain damage or internal bleeding.
The most life-threatening injury I had was the blow to the side of my head that had knocked me unconscious.
Larry's left foot took the full impact of the crash, leaving his lower leg and ankle badly broken.
It was useless, so I couldn't walk. There wasn't much that could be done for me. It had to be left alone.
Tommy and Larry both need emergency medical care before it's too late. But the men are stranded, miles from rescue, in an inhospitable mountain range. Justin is the only one uninjured. And as the pilot, he feels it's up to him to save them.
I definitely had a deep sense of responsibility to protect my friends and to get them the help that they needed. So we're in this situation. What do you do to make it better? I needed to do something. I was thinking about going back to the aircraft to make a radio call.
Now pilot Justin Kirkbride has to risk turning on the electrics if he's going to transmit an SOS call and save his two severely injured friends.
For me, my thought process was that I was probably going to burn to death. But I just decided that it was worth the risk. I truly believed that as soon as I turned the batteries on, that it was game over. I took a deep breath and nothing happened.
Mayday, mayday, mayday.
So I made my call.
November 3535 Echo. Cessna 172 due north of Durango in a canyon unknown.
But there's no response to his mayday call.
You know, I had no way of knowing if there was any signal that got out at all. And realistically, nobody knows where we are. My initial thought was that I need to get help here.
They're in the middle of a mountain wilderness, and there's no guarantee the rescue services even know they've crashed. Larry is completely immobile, and Tommy's massive hit to the head could develop into serious brain damage if he's not treated soon.
I just put in a mayday call. I don't know if it got out.
I definitely felt like I'd let them down.
I'm so sorry. It's all my fault.
I needed to do something to get them the help that they needed.
Look. It was an accident. It wasn't your fault.
He felt really badly about it. So he was going to do everything he could to get us off that mountain as quickly as possible.
Justin believes the only way of getting help is by hiking out into the icy wilderness, unprepared and totally alone. He knows he's risking frostbite and even hypothermia, but he can't stay here and watch his buddy slowly die.
Are you sure you're okay?
I'm fine. I think I can get help.
Justin remembers flying over the town of Durango 10 minutes before they crashed.
I can get to Durango.
I knew that it probably wasn't more than maybe 15 miles.
Now look, you're gonna have to talk to Larry. Say something. Reassure him. All right?
Yeah, okay. Larry. Larry. Have you ever been in a helicopter? No. I'm gonna get you one, okay? Soon.
Justin faces an added challenge. He has to get there by nightfall. Temperatures in the Colorado Rockies can plummet to minus 30 degrees as darkness falls. All three men are only lightly dressed and could freeze to death by morning.
Dark to me was a definitive end, so I was more worried about getting help before dark than anything else.
But Justin is actually over 20 miles from Durango, in the middle of a vast, unforgiving wilderness. The rugged terrain and freezing conditions will test him to the absolute limit.
Come on. Come on. Come on. Go. Come on. Come on. Come on.
You know, walking in snow and, you know, no trails, it's not easy.
Justin has no map or compass, and only a vague sense of which direction he's heading.
I walked down to the end of the little gully that we were in,
and he's shocked by what lies ahead.
I didn't really recognize how far it was until I could look down the canyon. It looked like the canyon went on forever. I mean, it looked like a really long wait. This is impossible. Let's be real here.
Back at the plane wreck, Tommy's concerned it's not just the mountains that could jeopardize Justin's chances of getting rescue soon.
After Justin walked off, I thought that I didn't keep him there quite long enough to see that he wasn't internally injured and he could easily walk down the hill 100 yards away and fall down and bleed out from an internal injury and never know.
Tommy is seriously worried about his friend. He knows Justin's body was pumping with adrenaline, which acts as a natural painkiller, and now its effects may have worn off.
Between the time of the crash and the time Justin left, again, that was not a long period of time. It was probably 25 minutes. So 25 minutes with adrenaline still pumping, it's hard to assess somebody's condition.
All Tommy and Larry can do is sit and wait, knowing that Justin's efforts to save them might be slowly killing him.
If Justin hadn't made it out, if he'd fallen and died on the trail or whatever, then we were not in good shape.
The task facing Justin is near impossible. He's completely unprepared for the freezing night that looms ahead. And between him and the nearest town are miles of mountains and waist-deep snow.
I knew that that probably wasn't doable before dark. But I would have to keep moving because otherwise I was probably going to freeze to death.
There are just 3 hours of daylight left, and Justin is already tiring. But if he doesn't find help soon, he and his friends are at serious risk from hypothermia.
I was maybe going, 1.5 miles an hour, maybe, something like that. I wasn't going very fast.
But then, Justin spots a possible lifeline.
I could see a creek. For the most part, it was 6-8 inches deep, so it was easier for me to walk down the creek bed, and I could make better time than I could walking on the banks.
The water in the creek is freezing, and the longer Justin spends in this extreme cold, in wet, lightweight clothes, the more he risks hypothermia. But it's his only hope of getting help before nightfall.
To get into the creek was a very difficult decision to make. But I had to get them the help that they needed. And then once I got into the creek, I started running. I thought to myself, if I hurt myself significantly, I wasn't going to make it out. Nobody knew where I was, and especially now, I was a long ways from my friends and from the wreck. So you can't run. You sprain an ankle and you die.
It's just 2 hours to nightfall, and with no sign of their friend, Tommy and Larry have to prepare themselves for a battle with hypothermia.
As it was getting colder, that's when it really became scary.
Larry's left ankle and lower leg are badly broken. He's unable to move and so generate warmth. And with no guarantee Justin will make it out alive, Tommy knows he can't just sit and watch his brother-in-law die.
I would start thinking about planning ahead, seeing what can I possibly do to ensure that we're not going to die here in this spot. not freeze to death. It all depended on what I did, whether we lived the night or not.
What are you doing, Tommy? Try and work us a shelter.
Tommy took the lead because he had had survivalist type training. And there was a great level of comfort knowing that the person that I was stuck with in this difficult situation probably was about the best person it could have been.
Tommy knows a shelter will protect them from the worst of the freezing temperatures and could just be enough to get them through the night. But to build it, he will have to risk making his injuries worse by trekking back and forth from the plane.
With broken ribs and head injury, I wasn't sure that I'd be physically able to expend that much energy.
Tommy's head injury plays havoc with his coordination. With every fall, he puts stress on his broken ribs, risking a life-threatening punctured lung.
The pain was horrible. With the broken ribs, it was just very, very painful pushing back up, getting out of the snow, getting your balance again, and then trudging off again through the snow.
After more than 20 trips to the plane and back, Tommy can't go a step further.
I slid down inside the plane and just kind of miraculously landed in a spot where my ribs didn't hurt, and actually nothing hurt. And it was nice and warm, the sun was shining there. And I thought, wow, you know, I was just ready to close my eyes for a while.
Justin is still miles from the nearest town of Durango. The freezing water is starting to take its toll.
I would say that it was probably as much or more emotionally draining as it was physically draining. I mean, I was wet to, probably mid-thigh, and I'd even fallen down a couple times, and so I was pretty wet.
Justin can't stay in the creek much longer. Every minute the temperature drops, his chances of getting hypothermia increase. With just 1 hour of daylight left, he has to find another way of getting help. He has a mobile phone with him, but in this mountain wilderness, he can't get a signal.
I made a conscious decision that I would walk for an hour and try the phone. Walk for an hour and try the phone. You could see a clearing quarter mile away, give or take, something like that, up the hill.
The higher ground might allow Justin to find an all-important signal. But to get there, he will have to use his last reserves of energy.
And when I got to the top, I actually had an actual bar. I made a call. It didn't work. I could hear them, but they couldn't hear me. I was really distraught over that because we're so close. That was the only time that I really thought somebody's gonna die.
Tommy and Larry are becoming weaker with every passing hour. But they've built a shelter that might buy them some extra time to be rescued.
After we got into our shelter, Larry was a little depressed because I think getting into the shelter pretty much signaled to him that we were going to be there for the night.
Their basic shelter offers them some protection. But it also brings home to Larry the seriousness of their situation.
And it became clear that it was going to be an overnight deal, and we didn't even know if anyone was going to come at all. I'm not moving anywhere. I got really scared. We just talked about it, and he said, you gotta just keep it together each moment so that you can survive this thing. If you panic, if you freak out, you're not gonna make it.
Miles away, Justin Kirkbride is trying to use his mobile phone to alert the rescue services. But he just can't get a strong enough signal.
I ran up the hill, and then I called again.
Rich, hey, it's Justin Kirkbride. Listen, don't say a thing.
And this time they could hear me.
We went out. We had a crash. I put out a mayday call. I don't know if anyone's heard me. Oh.
Justin is told that an air patrol is already looking for them. The alarm was raised after they failed to return to the airfield.
Good. Okay, don't go. Stay with me, all right?
Using his phone, Justin is able to guide them to his position.
There wasn't a lot of time to think about, yippee! It was more,
Here!
let's go find Tommy and Larry. Because now we have the ability to find them and get them out of here tonight.
Tommy and Larry are unaware any kind of rescue operation has begun. As darkness falls, the temperature drops below freezing. They're over 9,000 feet up the side of a mountain, with leg and possible brain injuries.
Tommy. I can't feel my legs or my feet. I'm so cold.
Don't worry about it, Larry. You'll be fine.
Larry is not an outdoor sort of person, so everything that was thrust upon him that day was totally alien to anything he'd ever done.
Tommy's makeshift shelter offers some protection, but the icy cold still creeps in, and Larry is starting to succumb to the early stages of hypothermia.
He was getting cold, and so I told him, in order to stay warm, that he should let his body shiver because it generates more heat. I thought that it was really getting cold, and I was afraid that maybe we would freeze to death in the hole.
Justin is being picked up by the rescue services, as the freezing temperatures could kill the injured men before morning. A specialist Air Force helicopter with night vision headsets has been drafted in to allow the airborne surge to continue through the night.
They asked if I wanted to go in the helicopter, and if I could show them where I flew, maybe we could see the wreck.
Right there. We crashed about 2/3 of the way up that slope.
hear the drone of the helicopter engines. And then I saw these lights coming up the valley.
Please. Where? Over here! Here! What's this? Try to catch the lights.
I was trying to reflect their searchlight.
Here! Here! And we're done here!
The searchlights would flash on the trees between us and the crashed airplane.
Hey! Hey! Over here! Help!
Occasionally, one would flash just straight across where we're staying.
Here! Hey! Here!
We were yelling and shouting like crazy. Yeah, we were waving our arms, yelling and shouting everything.
Hidden by the trees, Larry and Tommy remain invisible to the helicopter crew above.
I knew we should have found them by now. Why weren't they out running around waving their arms? Because if they're waving their arms, we can see them. You know, why can't we see them? I was certain that we were in the right canyon, but after enough times of not seeing what you're looking for, you begin to wonder.
The helicopter crew decides to search another part of the valley.
Why can't you see us? Because you've just gone over us, right over us, without any indication that you saw us. If you ever watch search patterns, once they decide an area is clear, well, they're not there, then they're gone.
Their only chance of rescue has disappeared into the darkness.
I did not feel good about life right then. I was extremely concerned.
Larry has been unable to move his broken lower leg and shattered ankle for over 14 hours.
I didn't know what was going on inside my leg at all. I mean, there's such a thing as gangrene. There could have been a lot of bad stuff going on. It's not good to be thinking about losing parts of your body.
But Tommy has even more serious concerns about the effects of the crash on Larry.
He was turning pale. He was a little disoriented. I thought he was on the verge of going into shock.
If Larry has sustained any serious internal injuries as well, then shock could start to shut down his body.
The longer I was there, the greater it seemed to me the risk or possibility of something worse coming of that. I was messed up.
What was that? What is it? I don't know.
At one point during the night, we heard an animal crashing through the woods.
Whatever it is, it's nearby.
Are there bears in that area? Are there wolf? Are there anything else that might be dangerous?
I said to Larry, I hope that's not a bear smelling my blood trail.
There was so much blood everywhere from Tommy. The animals, particularly carnivores, they look for wounded. Something he might come looking for you that's hungry. I survived the crash and more worried about what was next.
there was that one little sharp jolt of unreality, thinking that a bear might cross my blood spore and follow it to us. But it was momentary.
Tommy has a reality check. It becomes clear to him that the chances of a bear attack this time of year, when most are hibernating, are slim. But by now, Larry has worked himself into a frenzy.
I was purely frightened at that point. There's a feeling of you're pretty small and alone out there.
He was just a nervous wreck, you know, thinking about this bear creeping up on us and snatching him out of the hole.
If a bear had come, what would have happened? I'd have been dead.
Tommy knows he has to stop Larry from panicking. He's wasting energy he can't afford to lose.
I knew I had to figure out something to ease his mind.
Tommy struggles back to the plane one more time.
So I've searched around in there, and the most portable thing I could find that might work would be the fire extinguisher. So I took that with me back. I told him that if he saw a bear coming at us, that he should point it at its face and discharge the fire extinguisher.
Use it.
Almost immediately, when Larry had something that he could do, you know, that he could actively do to keep himself from being attacked by bears, he calmed down.
Soon, whatever creature was lurking in the forest disappears into the night. Justin Kirkbride and a helicopter crew have been searching for them without any luck. The chopper has exceeded its flying hours and has to return to base. Time is running out.
I've done everything except finish it. And ultimately, everything is important, but finishing is the most important. And I'm definitely distraught over the idea of leaving. I mean, we're so close, we can't stop.
Look, these are my friends out here. What if they were your friends? Just give me 20 more minutes, one pass.
Yeah, okay.
The two brothers-in-law are fighting hypothermia and constant pain to survive.
Oh, God damn it, this is really bad. I don't think I can make it through the night. Just keep it together, Larry. We're gonna make it.
Tommy still has no way of knowing if his head injury is life-threatening. The crash impact may have left his brain badly bruised or bleeding internally.
I wasn't sure that I'd be awake all night. I could possibly go into a coma for no telling how long. And I was worried about letting Larry down, and because if I died, he would probably die too.
Tommy. Tommy. Wake up. The helicopter's come back. Wake up. Hey! Hey! Help! Over here! Over here! Help!
When they came back the second time, they were flying much slower. lights were bright when they flashed the lights across us because they were much, much closer.
Hey! Hey!
The first time, they had come so close and yet not found us. And that's when I remembered that I had a camera in my pocket. So I got out of the hole, walked over into kind of a clearing. I had 5 flashes left. And so I took my camera out and aimed at the helicopters as they were flying along their route. I flashed it as they came by. First low, next a bit up, next straight across from us. Next further behind us. But they didn't see us. I fired off the last of my flashes. The 5th flash. And the helicopter paused and started searching with the searchlight. And then they spotted the airplane.
It was fantastic. It was like hallelujah. It was the best present, the best thing that ever happened to me.
Justin has delivered on his promise to get his friends help.
I knew that we'd found them. I've done everything I could possibly do. And so, yeah, I was definitely relieved and happy.
The helicopter crew search for a clearing from which to pick up the 2 injured and exhausted men.
And all of a sudden, the helicopter bumped a couple times, like some turbulence. And I thought, wow, that was weird. And we just spun around and bam, into the side of the mountain.
It's the second time Justin Kirkbride has been in an air crash in 24 hours. As the night drags on, Tommy and Larry start to wonder what has happened to their friend.
We're sort of like, well, where'd the helicopter go? Why did it go away and where did it go?
What started as a routine sightseeing trip has turned into a fight for survival. As it gets to the coldest part of the night, the battle with constant pain and injury has left them with no fight left.
I started thinking about loved ones and my dogs and, you know, whether we were actually going to live through the night. I was tired, I was aching. I was just ready to close my eyes.
You can't, if you give up, you're done. And I started to have those thoughts. That's a real low. That was the lowest point for me.
Hello!
At that point, pretty soon thereafter, I started regularly yelling.
Hello!
I wanted to hear someone's voice.
Hello! Hello!
of a sudden I heard someone yelling back, and someone answered. And that is a wonderful, wonderful sound. That is the best sound ever.
After nearly 19 hours fighting to survive, Tommy and Larry's ordeal is over.
I felt like I could, just let myself go and, surrender to the pains because I no longer really had to do anything. I was done with my night in the woods.
This here.
So I knew that we were going to make it at that point. We're basically saved. It was just the best thing ever.
Larry and Tommy are saved by a ground-based rescue team working independently from the helicopter crew. The team was dispatched from Durango the minute the plane had been reported missing. The rescuers were guided by the coordinates Justin had given them and followed his tracks in the snow. Under a mile away, Justin and the helicopter crew had survived their crash. The helicopter's main rotor had hit a tree, and it had fallen 70 feet to the ground. But all 8 passengers made it out completely unscathed. Larry and Tommy were airlifted to the hospital in Durango. They were reunited with Justin later that day. None of the 3 friends had any lasting injuries from the crash.
Any time that you crash an airplane out of the sky and walk away from it, there is some amount of luck involved.
A lot of that luck broke because of the common sense decisions that were made by those 2 guys. I would not be here if it weren't for them, no question.
It wouldn't have taken much for me to have killed Tommy and Larry. I could have been telling this story without a smile on my face, I guarantee it, without a lot of changes.